This is a review of the UtechSmart USB 3.0 4-port hub. Inside the box, you'll find the device itself. The cable is 6 inches long, and overall the entire assembly weighs 1 1/4 ounces. It's very portable and extremely lightweight. The device is designed to be compatible with USB 3.0, but it's also compatible with USB 2.0 and USB 1.1. Compatible with Windows 8, 7, with Vista, with XP, with 2003, 2000, and ME, and also with Mac operating systems with the latest updates installed, and Linux kernels 3.0 and later. The device is plug and play and hot swappable. No drivers are required to install it. The device is hub powered, which means it derives its power from what you plug it into. If you plug this into a USB 3.0 port, as it says, that means that you will receive 900 milliamps, which is used to power the device and all 4 of the hubs or plugs that are on it. That means the power is split. This may be ideal for some applications. It may cause problems with others. The data bandwidth of USB 3.0 or 2.0 or 1.1 is also split. As it comes in here, if all 4 of these ports are trying to read and write at the same time, then the bandwidth will be shared and slow down the response of all of the devices. I've got a couple items here. Theoretically, you could plug in all 4 of these devices. This hub here is a USB-powered laptop hard drive. Inside of this case, the hard drive itself draws 600 milliamps, so even using USB 3.0, this is going to be a real power hog. The ability to power all 4 of these devices is under question. But even more critical, you can see that I have 2 thumb drives plugged in, and I have a small card reader which will take SD cards. I can't even plug in the device because of the overlap of the different devices. I find this unfortunate because I can't force this in, or I can force this plug in, but it forces this thumb drive to be crooked and putting stress and strain on the plug that's inside of here. It's a shame that these ports are so close together, and that's one thing I'm going to count against it in my final review. Speed test. This thumb drive here is 128 gigabytes. It's also an ultra-fast memory stick thumb drive. It runs at SSD speeds, so I'm going to use it in my speed test. And I'm also going to try to plug in as many devices as possible to see if I can get them all to work. So I've got these 2 sticks plugged in. I'm going to take this one and try to plug it in. And to do so, I have to push this thumb drive over, put this in, and you can see they're touching here and applying pressure on each other, which is putting stress on these 2 hubs. Here you can see I have the hub plugged in, and I have these 3 devices plugged in. My computer was able to recognize all 3 devices within seconds and identify them all. This is one of my pet peeves about these devices. They're ideal for laptop computers and portability, but when you use them on a tower computer or a desktop computer, this cable may be just too short. Here you can see it's hanging down, and there's no place to lay it because the hubs are in the middle of the computer. If you also hang this on the back of the computer, you have the same problem. See, I have the 2 thumb drives plugged in, and now I have plugged in a cable that goes up to this hard drive. Even though the blue LED is on and I can feel the drive spinning, the drive is not recognized by my computer, as I suspect it's underpowered because it is showing the power through the USB port here. You see, I've unplugged everything except this USB powered hard drive here, and even though the light's on and it's the only device plugged in, it's still not recognized by my computer. I've removed this hub and plugged this hard drive directly into the computer, and it's working perfectly. I just want to point this out, that this is one of the typical problems with these types of devices. They have limited use if you're going to use a lot of items or certain items that require a lot of power. 600 milliamps is not a lot of power, and this device should have worked to power this drive and allowed it to be identified. If you're going to hook this up and use a printer, a scanner, or a hard drive that has its own AC power supply, you probably wouldn't have that problem. But if you're going to hook up a lot of things here that require power from this hub, remember it's all split. You could run into some issues, and that's a real problem because you don't know when it's failing. You might think this is reading and writing, and it's not. Or it may be acting like it's reading and writing corrupt data. It's just something to always remember. See, I'm getting ready to run a speed test on this high-speed thumb drive. You can see the red LED. It's very dim in the camera, but it indicates that it's powered and operating. I'm going to run a benchmark test using software to see how fast this hub is. Here you can see my benchmark speed test. I achieved write speeds of 47.011 megabytes per second and read speeds of 149.685 megabytes per second. That's a pretty reasonable result, but remember, I only had one item plugged into the hub. Overall, after my testing, the speed test was pretty good. I'd like to comment, though, that this is the first hub I've tried that was unable to power this laptop drive in this case. And that's out of about 10 or 15 tests I've done. So I kind of have to count that against it. In addition, if I come down here to the bottom, to this connector here, you can see if I plug in 4 individual cable devices, they're likely to fit. But if I'm going to use any kind of a thumb drive, for example, this happens to be a big one, and then I also have one that's more of a standard size thumb drive, you can see that the ports are very tight together. And because of those two issues, I feel I have to rate this product as a 3-star item. The review was done by JJ CEO. I'd like to tell you I received a sample for test and evaluation, and I promise to give a fair and honest review.